What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. You know, for a headline as deterministic as some bad news about John Krasinski as Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness, I had to do a double take at the source and then immediately wonder if this wasn't just a clever twist of phrase to make the news sound worse than it was. But after reading the quote and the context from the story, I think there's certainly some merit to the sentiment that John Krasinski may not be back as our main continuity 616 Reed Richards in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to break down this latest quote, where it came from, how the story read, and what it all means for the casting of the Fantastic Four, which we expect an announcement later this year. We're breaking it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to occasional industry insider scoops and reports like we're covering today, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so the headline, exactly as I iterated it in the prologue, and I'll make sure to put on the screen for you guys now. Some bad news about John Krasinski as Reed Richards in the Multiverse of Madness, and this breaking earlier today from Forbes. That's right, Forbes magazine. It seems as though everybody wants in on the MCU news. Welcome to the fray. They go on to publish a quote recently made by Sam Raimi in response to this casting. Quote, "It's funny that Kevin Feige cast John Krasinski because the fans had a dream of who the perfect Reed Richards would be. And because this is an alternate universe, I think Kevin said, let's make that dream come true. I've always really enjoyed all of his performances." As they go on to report, quote, "So this was Kevin Feige's call to cast Krasinski, but it seems like him being Reed was contingent on this being an alternate universe, which means it doesn't really count. It can just be a fun one-off cameo. That would not indicate a larger plan for this to be the introduction of Krasinski's Reed for the standalone Fantastic Four film." Now, they certainly took that quote and tied together the mutual inclusion of the alternate universe for his cast, meaning the fan cast only happened because it was an alternate universe. If you read that quote in full, it definitely feels like Sam Raimi, the director, is saying that. Sometimes words are twisted to make them seem as though they indicate something they don't, but when you take that context and you take the quote as it's said, it does certainly seem like those two are connected, and that's the only reason we saw him as Reed Richards. Now, personally, do I think there's a world where Marvel Studios still keeps now John Krasinski as Reed Richards in the MCU continuity? Well, certainly the more vocal the fans are, it should matter if they're already aware of our fan casting in the first place, since we've all said we loved him in the role and that we want him back, and that's been the genuine sentiment among the community. Marvel Studios may see that and choose to keep him. But remember, this goes both ways, not only the fans in Marvel Studios wanting a certain particular actor to play a character, but those actors wanting to do the job. And we've talked about it at length over the last 2 years. Even though John Krasinski said he was wide open to this, Emily Blunt had some reservations about taking the role, only because it's such a commitment and these actors have other aspirations. John Krasinski himself, a director in his own right, and while there have been rumors that John Krasinski agreed to not only star in but direct the Fantastic Four film, which is what led to the real recent and amicable split between John Watts, the original Spider-Man director, and Marvel Studios, who had originally agreed to do this, I just think those are rumors, and in fact, it may work in reverse for Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, who have a lot more aspirations in their career and expressively through their portfolio creatively, just don't want to get locked into 10 years of the cinematic universe, where, let's all face it, guys, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and the Fantastic Four are going to play a prominent role. They haven't even been introduced yet. We could be looking at 10 more years for that actor. That being said, there have been many people who have played the card that they wouldn't introduce John Krasinski during Mom, not to have him back, that would just confuse fans. I agree with the sentiment, but don't agree with the reason. I don't think anybody will be confused. We're into some really complex comic stuff at this point in Marvel Phase 4, alternate universes, alternate versions of characters. They're not going to be confused, and if they are, well, then there's 1 in a million YouTube channels like mine that'll explain everything for them. That being said, it also is hard for me to understand why Marvel Studios would have done this. Let the fans get a taste of their dream. See John Krasinski play the role so perfectly. I mean, guys, he really read as Mr. Fantastic. I loved it. And then not actually go ahead and give him as our main continuity Reed Richards. But this is 2022. And these things are all very public. And I'm sure for all the ideas that you guys are going to drop in the comments and all the comments I've made publicly on this channel, and for me, the rest of the people who have done so as well, all of the countless fan art, all of the countless hashtags, I think they know we want him back. I think they all know we want him in the first place, which is why we got him in Mom. And we can be as vocal as we want about wanting him to stay, but again, there's so many other factors at play. John Krasinski's wants, Marvel Studios wants, what they want for the role. Sarah Flynn is the casting director over there, and she's done a great job up until now. So trusting in them, trusting in the process, and understanding that John Krasinski's one-off and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness may have been something we all got in lieu of not getting him at all, meaning he may have been out of the running, deciding he didn't want to do this. Marvel Studios decided they didn't want to cast him, but this is the alternative to that, an alternate version, and for that, we should all be thankful. One other thing I will mention, though, as I saw these comments sort of populate on Reddit and in response to this article, is the idea of immediate comparison, meaning whomever they did cast, if it's not John Krasinski, would immediately have to live up to whatever expectations we had of him in light of us just meeting John Krasinski, what could be an easy 12 or 20 months before we see that character in a different version. So he all of a sudden not only has to be Mr. Fantastic and carry the weight of the character, but now also has to do so in immediate comparison to John Krasinski, which makes it ultra hard on him and the studio. And for that very reason, I thought you don't bring Hugh Jackman Wolverine back, because obviously you've got to recast the character, and if we see Hugh Jackman Wolverine in the MCU even one time in the suit, then whoever gets cast as him in the next 2 or 3 years has got to not only be the new MCU Wolverine, but in comparison to Hugh Jackman's MCU Wolverine. The same way a brand new Reed Richards will not only have to be the MCU Reed Richards, but now also draw comparisons and be better or as good as John Krasinski's Reed Richards. And for that reason alone, that caveat, it gives me hope that Marvel Studios will see what they did, see how good he was, see how much the fans loved it and why we wanted it in the first place, and that he will be our main continuity Reed Richards whenever they finally introduce this cast. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below about all of this news, if you think it was a twist of phrase, and if it's not going to be John Krasinski for the 616 and our Fantastic Four, who do you got? As always, who's your casting for the role now that it could be back on the table? I'm all ears. Let me know down in the comments. Quickly, let's jump into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, we're still giving away PlayStation 5s every 20,000 subscribers, all the way up to 1 million, and we are headlong into our next giveaway at 980. If you want to be entered to win, or for any of the future giveaways here at the channel, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Please ignore all WhatsApp spammers all over the platform of YouTube, not just my channel, but other channels alike. There are a lot of scammers out there who use people's pictures to try to pretend them and then ask for shipping. We are not that. You will never pay $1 for any of the giveaways at this channel. And again, we only announce them publicly in videos. If you like today's content, I'd super appreciate it if you hit the like button. And as always, best way to keep up with the content is to hit the notification bell. My name is Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name Allfires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking that channel out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.